We at the Durham Catholic District School Board are committed to 21st century teaching and learning. Research tells us that the combination of digital technology and good teaching practice has a significant impact on student achievement. That is why investing in these two areas is critical for student success. Funding from the Council of Ontario Directors of Education has been instrumental in helping us achieve our vision for 21st century learners. Through this funding, we've been able to transform our traditional libraries into learning commons, explore the benefits of cloud-based computing through Office 365, and provide training for teachers in both technology and new pedagogy.
Firstly, we have begun the process of transforming our libraries into 21st century learning commons. These are spaces where students can collaborate and develop critical thinking skills while using digital technology.
Well, a traditional library is different from a learning commons. A traditional library is seen as a room of books where students come and work quietly by themselves. A learning commons encourages group work, it encourages collaboration, it encourages all kinds of resources, not just book resources. All the colors, all the new furniture, all the new technology, they've really embraced it. I think that they are very proud of it, and I think they feel like there's a real investment in them, in their future, in their success.
What I like about the Learning Commons is that you can get a friend and work on a project quietly somewhere. You can use Sway and OneDrive to work on a project at home and at school. So you get your work in on time and done well.
When the learning perhaps might start in the classroom, when the class comes into the learning common, they're having that opportunity to access the learning in traditional physical ways, but also using the technology. If a teacher has an inquiry question, he or she can bring their entire class down. Students can do the research in real time.
We have large screen Macs, Windows 10 touchscreens, and Dells as well, so that students can work collaboratively around those computers in small groups. We have a beautiful new Mac lab of 16 iMacs that are booked out by classes. It's a nice quiet room, so when the Learning Commons is buzzing and it's noisy, there is a smaller area for classes to use. We have technology on carts that are signed out to students. We have 30 Chromebooks and we have 30 iPads, and the students come in throughout the day and sign out these devices.
To complement this collaborative physical space, we have built a virtual learning portal that allows teachers and students to access ministry and school resources anywhere and anytime.
So the Launchpad encourages virtual learning, and so that makes, that's something that adds to the whole Learning Commons, that we have this beautiful new physical space, but we also have a virtual space for students to work in. And there are so many options available to the students in that virtual space. And hopefully moving forward, we'll have more databases that the students will be able to access, more online resources, more e-books, these kinds of resources that the students need to have access to at home.
They do everything online. They talk to each other. Even if they're in the same room, they're communicating on their phone. So it's just a natural extension of kind of where their social lives have taken them.
How students learn outside school and how students learn inside school, it's now mirrored. So gone are the days where students can't continue the learning outside of school, not having the resources, forgetting the binder, etc. at school. It's all accessible 24 hours a day. It's also a way that parents can continue the learning outside of school.
We have continued to explore the benefits of cloud computing through Microsoft's Office 365 and applications such as OneNote.
The advantages of students and teachers in using 365 and the cloud computing is the fact that at this school in particular, we have a lot of athletes that are away on a Friday or away on a Monday with tournaments. My kids have figured out now through the process that they can work in OneNote, whether they're at home in a hotel room in Brampton, in the car even, because it'll update automatically as soon as they get Wi-Fi. So it really alleviates any of that, what am I missing? OneNote allows for differentiation because every student has their own laptop. Every student has their own OneNote binder that only he or she and I can see. If a student has an assignment and they're on an accommodated program or a modified program, I can give them a similar assignment and throw it into their binder, and no one's the wiser. And because it's online, because it's constantly syncing and updating, I'm allowed then to go into their binder and give them constant feedback right away. So it really allows the kids to experiment with things and become comfortable with their abilities. And there's less of a stigma that they put on themselves that I'm doing a different or slightly different program.
The students are starting to realize that they can collaborate even on their own without teacher direction. So as an example, my students were working on a lab that was going to be passed in. They needed to compare the data. I opened up OneNote and there was a collaboration page started by the kids where they've input all the data from the lab so that everybody would have the data available. They're learning that they have this as a resource. All they have to do is use it.
One of the things I love about it is my teacher is able to post all of her notes, all of the study sheets, anything that I'm needing to fill in to be able to study, and I can transfer it from her content library into my own kind of folder. I can organize it the way I want it, which is really great for me because then it's personalized. I know where everything is. And another thing I love about it is being able to take it home. I have it on all my devices, my computer at home, my laptop, I could get it on my phone, and I have it at school. So wherever I need, it's really here.
Using the laptops in 365 has changed my assessment practices in the sense that while I still do give the paper and pencil tests in some occasions, a lot of times now it's a cumulative assessment where at the end of an assignment or end of a unit, the kids will have to do a PowerPoint or a sway or a Word, or even we started using Publisher with a program called TAMI. It's talking about mental illness. And at the end of it, they had to create posters that displayed celebrities that suffer from mental illness, and they did a fantastic job on it. The students are very proud of what they do, and we're basically in the process right now of we're going to get the posters that they created for TAMI printed so they can be put up around the class, or around the school rather, so that they can take pride in walking past a poster that they created, and it's very professional looking.
The ways I like working in OneNote is because it's much easier to keep track of all your work, and it's much more organized than having a bunch of paper in your binders, and you can't lose something in OneNote, but you can on a piece of paper. The fact that OneNote lets you work on all your work like any time on any device is good, because instead of bringing like a paper home or being worried about your binder being too heavy in your bag, you can just use your computer at home as long as you have Wi-Fi. And we can look at our marks at any time, anywhere, instead of coming back to school. For example, if it's on a Friday, we can just go home and look over the weekend.
Well, I like the way that you're using more of your class time to work on it instead of copying from the board.
We have invested heavily in teacher training around technology-enabled teaching and learning. Teachers are gaining both the technical skills they need to use the hardware and software we are deploying, and just as importantly, they are learning a new pedagogical approach that is redefining their role as teachers and the way they teach and assess their students.
Our technology training was much different than any other PD we've had before, where we've been given lectures and just worked on, because we were able to hands-on bring our laptops, bring our iPads, and sit in the sessions and actually try out all the programs one-on-one, and we had plenty of time to do it. We were also given lots of voice in what we wanted to do, and we were able to choose the direction that our learning went to in the sessions. And then we were able to come back to our schools. We were given release time at the schools and build capacity with other teachers or in our divisions or our grade partners to further their learning and get it implemented right away into their sessions.
I got a student comment from a student who was not in my classroom this year, and she's like, oh, you guys have electronics day every day, and so she thinks it's all about we're playing games in the class. And I said, yes, but it has a learning purpose, and I think that that's where Tilt helped me, is to take that, that fun environment and make it learning with a purpose, with a learning academic goal, whatever it happens to be. And so that shift has come into my classroom, and so the kids are definitely more engaged with the learning.
We have a long tradition of something called Lunch and Learn, where staff members come to the Resource Center or the Learning Commons for some professional development. Now what we're starting to do is having teachers bring students from their classes to these sessions. So the teacher and the student learn together. They're co-learners. So if we're learning about iPads or Chromebooks or how they can be used in the class to create rich content, it's the teacher and student learning together. In some cases, students are more comfortable with the technology and are able to assist the teacher. They obviously still need the teacher's support, but it is very much an accompanied journey.
Over the years, my teaching practice has changed by not so much a teacher-directed lesson, but more student-directed, where they can be involved in the learning and we learn together. And when we find out what we were looking for, then they can use technologies to show in a variety of ways what they've learned.
I think using the laptops has really helped with creating a 21st century learner in the sense that a lot of these kids are going to have jobs that don't exist right now. So teaching them a specific item may benefit them in the future and it may not. So I think teaching them more general, like working with each other, problem solving is huge, and problem solving, whether independently or working with someone else, is going to help them in the future, whether they're a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, or a job that we don't know yet. And so I think the whole idea of working and becoming familiar with this whole collaboration, with the working in partnership with other teachers, other students, allows them then to be more comfortable in the future working in that sense.
The funds we've received from CODE has allowed us to scale up technology and teaching practices that support student learning and achievement. These investments will benefit our students right now and in the years to come.